From spooky legends past, down through generations, to haunted locations that hold a ghostly past. Come one, come all, come finders and seekers. Hear the creepy side of NEPA.
Welcome to the creepy side of NEPA. I am Dan Kosloski. If you are new to the podcast, or maybe you haven't had a chance yet, please like, subscribe, or follow the creepy side of NEPA on whichever podcast platform that you're listening to us on. Also, make sure to follow WNEP's Creepy Side of NEPA on Facebook. That is the best way to always be informed on the latest show information. Joining us tonight on this episode of the Creepy Side of NEPA is Gwendolyn Purcell, founding member of the Bigfoot research group Got Knockers. She's on the show tonight talking a little bit about the upcoming Central Pennsylvania Bigfoot and Cryptid Festival. This Saturday, August 3rd, 2024, in Elysburg, PA. Gwendolyn, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I gotta say, I never heard of the Bigfoot Cryptid Festival. I've seen it online, and this is the first time I heard about it.
Interesting.
How long have you guys been having it?
This will be our second year.
Fairly new, the festival is the area.
Yes, fairly new, yes.
So what got you involved with Bigfoot, and what made you start the Central PA Bigfoot Festival?
Well, before I got into Bigfoot, I did paranormal investigating. Bigfoot was nowhere on my radar whatsoever until I saw one in February of 2021, not very far from my house at all. In fact, it's more like 1,000 feet from my house. So I started researching Bigfoot in our area. I started going to other people's events to try and connect with people and learn from other researchers. And I learned through going to all these events that most of these events are held on the western side of Pennsylvania or Virginia and West Virginia and further down.
I've noticed
south.
that also.
Yes. And the problem is that people from our area don't go to those festivals because they're so far away.
Right.
And I had said to my husband, I really feel like we need to have a festival here so that people who are interested in the subject have a place that they can go, they can shop vendors, they can hear from speakers and get that full experience that we get when we go somewhere. So that's how it got started.
And you started last year, you said, right?
Yeah, we had our first festival last year. It was pretty amazing. I was scared to death. I wasn't sure how this was going to pan out. This is a huge risk. We had 28 vendors. Not a single food truck showed up. We had 5 of them on the books to come, and not a single one of them showed up. So I was really upset about that. But it was estimated 5,000 people came.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good for the first year of the festival.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. I ran around all day like a chicken with my head cut off. It was amazing. I spoke to a lot of people, and almost all of those vendors are returning this year, and they spread the word because we're up to 90 vendors for this year.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's going to be crazy. It's going to be absolutely crazy. And I do it all by myself. So it's quite the task of keeping everything straight and making sure I answer everybody's emails and text messages. But it's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So anyone listening at home, where's the festival located at? Is that a park area? Is it indoors?
It is in a park. It's outside. It's at a memorial park in Elysburg called All Homes Day. It's on Memorial Park Avenue. We'll have lots of signage up, so you won't miss finding it. It'll be fantastic. It's going to be rain or shine, so no matter what, we're going to be there. We have 6 costume characters this year, which last year we only had 1. So you're going to get to meet Bigfoot and Mothman and a Wendigo and an alien, and we have a ghost and a shadow person that will all be on hand, and you'll be able to take pictures and stuff with them. We're going to have the Bigfoot water battle, which is a sponge battle with 400 foot-shaped sponges that I cut each one by hand.
Sounds like you're definitely busy putting this together.
Oh, it's quite the task, let me tell you. I've been busy for a year because from the second the other festival ended, I've been planning this one.
I hear
So
that from a lot of people planning events. As soon as this one, their first year ends or their last year ends,
yep,
they start planning for the next year already.
absolutely. You have to, because it'll get away from you if you don't.
So people attending this year's festival, what could they expect? What kind of vendors do you have on hand?
Oh my gosh, we have, there vendors of every, if you can't find it at this festival, I would be shocked, because we have cookies, we have cakes, we have soaps, we have crystals, we have stuffed animals, we have 3D printed creatures, and everything in between, everything. Lots of jewelry, lots of t-shirts. We have some pretty cool t-shirt vendors this year, so I'm super excited. This will be the first year some of them have been here, and with going to other vendor events, I get to meet a lot of these people at other events, and people are going to be happy. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff this year.
So not just vendors, I also saw you have a couple people exhibiting stuff and speaking.
Yes, we have 5 speakers. We have Michael Cook, who is returning. He spoke last year. He has been on the travel channels. These Woods Are Haunted, been on a couple of the other shows that are on Discovery Channel and the Travel Channel. We have Les Odell, who is from West Virginia. He runs a cryptid group there in West Virginia. We have Jamie and Jenny King, who are coming from Western PA. They do a lot of paranormal stuff and Bigfoot stuff, so they're going to be here. They're pretty cool people. Bill Rigby, who is also from Western Pennsylvania. He runs Agents of the Unexplained. And we have Sharon Buck, who is from, I think, Bucks County, actually, down near Philly and Reading. She's going to be here talking about her personal experiences with Bigfoot.
Now, talking about personal experience with Bigfoot, do you have any personal experiences with Bigfoot?
I do. I've seen Bigfoot twice on 2 different occasions, one being in February of 21. The first time I saw it, my husband and I were actually going away, and we pulled up to this street, the end of our road, and I saw this giant black figure walking across this field. And at first I thought, oh, somebody's walking in the field. But then when watching it, I'm thinking, this is really strange, because the farmer doesn't even live close. So when he comes to the field, he drives a tractor, and I don't see a tractor anywhere. And I've hunted in this hill area my whole life, and I have never seen anything like this ever. And the more I'm watching it, the more I'm like eliminating animals. It's not a bear. It's not this. It's not that. And the only thing that's left is Bigfoot. And now I don't believe in Bigfoot at this point. So I'm thinking, there's no way I saw what I saw.
So this would be your first experience, really?
This is my first experience. And I coin it as the 30 seconds that changed my life. Because it literally was 30 seconds, and my life has not been the same since. My entire world has been flipped completely upside down. I have done things that I never thought I would be doing, like running into the woods in the middle of the night and researching Bigfoot. I never in my entire life ever anticipated that I would be doing that. It almost sounds crazy when I say it.
So that one experience sort of sparked you into now you're investigating Bigfoot?
Yes, I go all over the place investigating Bigfoot. I've been to Ohio several times. I've been to South Carolina several times. I have a Uwharrie trip to North Carolina, the Uwharrie National Forest, this fall. I just came back from the UK.
Wow.
We were investigating Bigfoot in the UK.
So how does that work? Do people report their sightings to you, or do you just go out to places where Bigfoot is mostly seen?
A lot of times people will call me and give me reports. The problem with our area is that people are afraid to come forward because of ridicule. I mean, it happens. I've seen it happen over the last few years. People will come forward and tell their story. They might share something on Facebook, and they get completely ripped apart. They get called liars, and they get told they're crazy. And I don't too much care what people think of me. Sometimes when I talk about these things, I sound like I'm crazy, and I think, I can't believe I just said that. Because it is crazy, but it happened. So when people laugh at me and make fun of me, I laugh along with them because it is funny. But at the same token, I saw what I saw. I've experienced what I've experienced, and I want people to come forward and they can confide in me. If you don't want me to tell your story, I won't tell it, but I will record it in my notes, and I plot points on maps so I can try to find like where they're traveling, what time of the year they're traveling, what food sources are they using. We can get all kinds of things from the research that we collect.
Now, we did have one person talk about Bigfoot. Oh, this had to be 3 or 4 years ago now on the show. And I remember one thing that sort of stuck with me. He said Bigfoot seems to travel along power lines. Do you see any truth to that?
I do see truth to that. I try to think of it as a person. If you're walking, if you have a choice between walking through thickets of thorns and dense brush versus walking a power line, you're going to take the road less traveled.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? You're going to take the easier path. There are lots of times that people report seeing a Bigfoot crossing a power line or crossing the road, or it's usually them crossing somewhere. And in that, it's usually in an area that's open, like a road or a power line. Cemeteries are good ones. They get seen often walking along, bodies of water, like the river or the, reservoirs or creeks.
That's also along the lines what he said, something about directional. It would be like the power lines. Because when he first mentioned it to me, I was thinking maybe something they were attracted to them because of the power, the energy coming off from them. But it does make sense how it would be like less brush, less trees, easier to travel.
Easier to travel. Yep, absolutely.
But yeah, like I said, when he first mentioned it, I was thinking along the lines of they were attracted to it of some way.
No, I think they just would take the easier road.
And that totally makes sense, especially when you're traveling through the woods.
Absolutely.
Now, hearing about all the Bigfoot experiences and stuff, do anyone over the years really stuck with you? Do you really thought was quite the amazing story?
Oh my gosh, there have been so many. And I got to tell you, sometimes I hear stories from people that are so fantastical that I'm still skeptical at the same time, right? When somebody tells me a story, I just don't buy into it hook, line, and sinker.
Sure.
I compare it. I compare the area that they're reporting it to with other reports. Sometimes people report just minor things that they can't explain, like rocks being thrown at them or tree knocks that they've heard. It's not necessarily that they've seen a Bigfoot, but they've experienced Bigfoot-like activity. So if somebody's experiencing something and they come forward to me and they tell me, listen, I've had some rocks thrown at me in my yard. I have also had that happen, but I can compare that with other reports in that same area so that I can, if somebody else is reporting the same thing and they live right down the street or they live a couple of, fields over, I can be like, okay, I think there's the potential that there's something really going on there. So some of the stories I get are really, really absolutely crazy. And some of them are just simple little things like throwing rocks or hearing a tree knock or a whistle, a howl. I mean, lots of different things, lots of things.
Does it seem like there's more stories reported to you of weird noises people are hearing out in the woods, or like you said, objects getting thrown, or what is it you're mostly hearing the most of?
Mostly what I'm getting is that they've had stuff thrown at them. That is a really big one. The other ones are the tree knocks. People will get a lot of tree knocks, not necessarily so much howls or Bigfoot is also thought to mimic other animals. So I know, for example, here in my backyard, I've lived here for 7 or 8 years, and I think I've heard a handful of owls over those 8 years. But in the last month and a half, there have been nonstop owls all day, all night, coming from all different directions. And either we've had an explosion of owls or there's something else going on.
Something that you just can't explain.
It's just bizarre and I can't explain it. And is it Bigfoot mimicking owls? I don't know, because I don't see them doing it, but they're known to do it, or at least that's what is reported, that they can mimic people and mimic other animals.
Well, that's interesting. That's something I never heard of before.
Yeah.
Could they mimic? Could they talk? Could they? You hear any reports of them like mimicking people's voices at all?
I actually have had that happen here at my own property.
Wow.
My girlfriend would come over in the summertime and she would camp out with me in the yard, specifically for the purpose of researching Bigfoot. And she would be in her tent and I would be in my tent. And the one morning in particular, I woke up in the middle of the night and I heard a giggle. And I dismissed it because I figured, she's talking to her husband or something on the phone and he made her laugh and she's laughing. So I just rolled over and went back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
The following morning, I got up at, I don't know, it was 7:30, 8 o'clock, and she was sitting by the fire waiting for me. And she asked me if I talked to my chickens, which we have probably 30 chickens. And I thought it was a strange question. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, what do you say? And I said, well, I go out to feed them and I'm like, good morning, ladies, or hey, ladies, what's going on? And she said she heard my voice come from the chicken coop at 5:30 in the morning. She thought I was awake, so she got out of her tent to talk to me, only I was sound asleep in my tent.
Wow.
Now, we always put a voice recorder out to record all night long. And I did hear the giggle, and it it kind of like, I got so excited and almost freaked out because I thought that was her laughing that I never got around to listening to the rest of the tape. So if he mimicked my voice, it's on there because we left it out there all night long.
Like I said, I never heard of that before. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. And that just makes me wonder how long they've been here watching.
Right, to know your voice or what you would say and to make it seem like you.
Right. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy.
It definitely makes you wonder, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you hear a lot of stories in this general area or mostly outside of Pennsylvania? Do you think Bigfoot's big in Pennsylvania?
Oh, Bigfoot is really big in Pennsylvania. When I started doing my research, the one thing I found particularly crazy is that Pennsylvania is the third highest state for Bigfoot reportings, and that's only behind Washington State and California.
Wow, you wouldn't think Pennsylvania is that big in the Bigfoot sightings.
No, but we have a lot of forest and a lot of wooded areas.
That is true.
They could easily travel from one area to another and never be found.
Yeah, do you think he's traveling more in more highly dense areas is more sightings, right?
There is. And I think part of the reason there's so many sightings nowadays is that, first of all, we have cell phones. Everybody's got a camera. Everybody's got, in your phone, you have a camera and a video recorder. So you can record sounds and you can record video. And so there's more and more people getting out there. And with that being said, the backside of that coin is that we're developing more and more of this land. So there's less and less places for animals like this to hide. So I think we're seeing them more because they have less of an area. And in order to travel from one area to another, the chances of them being spotted are increased greatly.
Right, because at some point they have to cross a road or somebody's yard, property, something along those lines.
Yep, absolutely.
And it does make sense because, like you said, if you even go back 20 years ago, not everybody had a camera on them at all times like today.
Right.
So it's pretty hard to keep secret nowadays.
Yes, very hard. Very hard.
I'd like to thank you for joining us this evening. You had some great stories. If anyone had a report they would like to pass along to you, do you have a website, Facebook page?
We do. We have I'm on Facebook. I have a personal page. We have a business page. Through Bigfoot, I started a brand called Got Knockers, which is simply Bigfoot is thought to knock on trees or clack rocks together, or maybe even clap their hands together to try to communicate with other Bigfoot. So we started a brand called Got Knockers. It's got a big Bigfoot on the front with him holding a big stick. And we have a website, gotknockers.org, and there is contact. There is a contact page where people can can fill it out, and I will absolutely get back to them. I am the one who sees them all. Nobody else runs the website but me, so every report that gets made comes directly to me.
And if anyone also wanted any more information on the upcoming Bigfoot and Cryptid Festival in central Pennsylvania, do you have a Facebook page or website for that?
We have both. The festival has its own Facebook page, the Central PA Bigfoot and Cryptid Festival, and we have a website, the centralpabigfoot.com is our website.
Okay. Well, once again, I'd like to thank you for joining us, and I hope you a lot of success in this upcoming festival.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Creepy Side of NEPA. If you have a story or an idea for an upcoming episode you would like to share, we'd love hearing from you. Send us an email. Our email address is ghost, Ghost, @WNEP.com. Again, our email address is ghost@WNEP.com. You can also contact us through our Facebook page, WNEP's Creepy Side of NEPA. And while you're there, make sure to follow us. Until next time, enjoy The Creepy Side of NEPA.
This has been The Creepy Side of NEPA. If you have a spooky story that took place in northeastern or central Pennsylvania, send it to ghost@WNEP.com for your chance to share it on an upcoming episode. We're dying to hear from you.